What's going on, guys? This is Jagnal back again with another video, and we just got some new EA College Football 25 news that just dropped yesterday, and I'm really excited to share with you guys. So if you like EA College Football content or just college football content in general, I think I might just make some more general college football content soon as we get prepared for this game and also just the season in general. Be sure to hit the like button as well as comment your thoughts. I really want to fester a great community where we can have a good discussion in the comment section down below. Everyone's been respectful and understanding of everyone's viewpoints, even though a lot of us may disagree with each other, and that's perfectly okay. I just want to create a community where we can all kind of talk and have our own thoughts. The comment section seems to be been pretty good for that so far. I mean, I've seen a lot of YouTube comment sections, and this seems to be pretty good. You guys are being really respectful to each other, and I just love your thoughts that you guys been doing or been putting in there, and I try my best to respond to as many comments as possible. So I want to make sure that you guys are included and felt like your opinions do matter in this channel, because you guys are the reason why these videos get views, get attention, so you guys are a big part of it. And again, if you want, you can subscribe as well. You don't have to do it. That's perfectly, okay. I'm not like begging for you guys to subscribe. But if you want to be notified about, any new content I do come out with, subscribing is the easiest way to do it. I think there's a notification bell you can click as well. Not a big deal. I'm not going to ask you guys to do it really that many times. If you want, it's there, but you're not required. I just appreciate you guys viewing and just liking if you want, and commenting and putting in your thoughts. I just appreciate that. So all that aside, let's kind of jump into this news. So this news didn't come straight from EA, so to say that it's 100% confirmed, I can't say that because it's not from EA. It's not like a full press release, but it is coming from a very credible source, and that source is Mike Straw with Insider Gaming. He seems to have a relationship with EA's developers and has gotten information about previous games like UFC, and seems like he's been getting information about this new college football game. So I do think this is very credible, and he did a big live stream on his YouTube channel yesterday as of recording this video. So please go watch that live stream. It's about 40 minutes long, and it's going to be breaking down a lot of stuff that I'm going to be talking about, but I want to give my thoughts and commentary, and also, again, want to hear your thoughts on this as well. But if you want to hear it like broken down in like a podcast style that he did on his breaking down everything straight from the source, go watch his video. I will link it in the description to go, so please feel free to check that out. But I have this broken down into a few different categories. So first off, we're going to be talking about the gameplay, because I know that's been a really big hot topic. So we will talk about the gameplay first, and then we'll talk about presentation, because we got some updates, and I think it's for better or for worse. This will be a little bit of a controversial topic, and then also some other gameplay features, some other miscellaneous like customization things. So a lot of questions will be answered. I did do a video a few days ago about some questions I have, and it seems like a few of them are getting answered, at least a little bit. So let's go and jump into it. It's been a few minutes. So first off, gameplay. So this is going to be the first true current gen football game from EA. So what it seems like this is being said is, and to interpret this, is that this is the first game that's being built on the Frostbite engine, built for, the PS5, Xbox Series S and X. Rather, Madden has been a game, I think it's been developed under Madden 13 for it's been just building off of that game, because you can't just break a game, you can't just start from scratch like every year. It just doesn't work. So this is the first game that they are building from scratch with the future in mind, which is great. I think that's a huge plus, and it does seem like this game, just looking at some of the graphics from the trailer, and people have been saying that the trailer looks basically the same thing as the gameplay, like in terms of graphics, which is pretty sick, because some of these graphics are insane. I will say it looks way better than Madden in my opinion. So I'm super hyped about that, just how good it looks. But another thing to keep in mind is that College Football 25 will play much faster than Madden, which is a big thing. And I think that's something to keep in mind, is that although Madden and in college football games have been built on the same engines in the past, in NCAA 14 and Madden 25. I think they were like one engine apart, but whenever they were on the same engine, they played similar, but the gameplay was different, if that makes sense. Like, they altered it. Just because a game is on the same engine does not mean it plays the same. You're allowed to alter it. That's why on Madden 18 to Madden 24, the gameplay always changes, because they're altering, the animations, the physics. They can still change it. The engine is just like the foundation that's built off of. And yeah, while Frostbite, I think, has a lot of flaws. I will say this. Frostbite has a lot of flaws. I think it was just a way for EA to consolidate a lot of its development, because EA uses Frostbite for all their games. Once again, using a first-person shooter engine for sports games is a take, but it seems like that's what they've gone with, and we really can't do much else. But overall, it seems like I think we're getting close to the peak of what Frostbite would be able to do. Seems like they've been spending the past few years trying to figure out how to make it work. There was a lot of kinks at the beginning. I mean, I completely I agree with a lot of the criticism with Frostbite and how Madden was very weak. I liked Madden 20's gameplay, to be honest. I actually loved playing it, and then they kind of changed it. And whenever they moved to the new generation of consoles, I was kind of I didn't really like the field sense, whatever, but I'm interested to see how this. But again, playing faster, I like this. A faster playing game is always something I appreciate. And sometimes Madden, whenever I play it, it just seems like you're getting like it's really slow, and then you just get one broken coverage and it's like an 80-yard touchdown. That seems like that's what I've always seen in Madden. Like, people either go for long balls, or the drives are like really long drives, and I'm like, I feel like that kind of takes away from the immersion a bit. So seeing that it's going to be a lot faster of a game, that's a big thing. And then there was a note saying that there is a potential for helmets being knocked off, which I'm really shocked by this, not gonna lie. I mean, I think it's cool, not gonna lie. But I don't know the last time I've seen a helmet get knocked off in a college football game. Like, I feel like helmets fit better. But, I mean, I think it would be cool to see it, like, make it like a really rare occasion, like maybe like a 1 in 1,000 moment, just because I don't want it to. If this is something that happens every game, that would kind of break the immersion for me, because this doesn't happen every game. But if there is like a specific situation where it triggers an animation, or maybe physics based, a certain threshold of like, I don't know, physics where you hit someone hard enough and it comes off, maybe. But that is interesting. That is a very interesting take. Makes me think, like, why would they prioritize this? That I have more questions than answers, but I'm interested to see how this plays out if this is in the game. But I mean, overall, I think that's cool. I mean, that is a cool feature. Another thing is that there is going to be a lot more animations in this game, or I'm sorry, new animations. I'm not going to be like, oh, it's going to be even more animation based. No, there are going to be a lot more animations that are focused on college, which I would assume initially catching, so you're getting those that 1 foot down, or maybe kind of, because I know they're talking about how this game is going to have a lot better, like a new redesigned passing mechanic, so maybe it's gonna those animations are gonna kind of tie to that. So we will see how that goes. So moving on, another thing is option offenses will get a boost with new animations and an emphasis on efficiency and speed. And also, I want to give a shout out to the NCAA football Reddit thread, or the entire. I will put a link in the description to the Reddit thread, because they kind of broke it down into pieces, and I did watch the video, but they also broke it down into bullet points, and I'm kind of using that as a guide. So shout out to them as well, and I will put a link to the Reddit thread. A lot of people were giving really insightful comments, so again, shout out to them. I don't want to seem like I'm plagiarizing, or I do want to give the credit to them, and I do appreciate all the work that they've been putting in, by the way. So another thing is, so having option offenses getting a boost with efficiency and speed, and there's the comment saying that this could be potentially overpowered. I would say that's fair, because option offenses, I think, are a key part of college football, because that's a way to kind of work around having a talent, disadvantage, because it's ways of scheming open runs. It's like you're tricking your defender rather than just winning on the lines of scrimmage. And that's why schools like the military schools use it, because usually they're all really good athletes, like they're really quick, but they're usually not the biggest or the strongest because, I think getting into those service academies as a football player is usually not your number one priority. It's usually because, you're trying to, serve your country and all that. So I would say that is interesting, and I'm excited to use that with smaller schools because that's kind of been the meta, especially with NCAA 14 options. They added a whole bunch of different options, and that's always kind of how I would start if I was starting off as a small school. Is the option would allow you to kind of work around and at least not get completely destroyed every game, and at least break out a few runs or maybe run a trick play and you get a touchdown or something. So it is cool to see that they are putting a lot more emphasis on options. And next up is the player ratings will matter. Now, I am excited about this, and he did make another point saying that you will feel the difference between a 2-star and a 5-star player, which is great because this means that recruiting is going to be even more important. Obviously, recruiting is basically like if you recruit a 5-star, they're most likely going to be a higher overall. 5 stars are probably going to be just really good. And the way that the recruiting rankings work with a lot of these sites is 5 stars are seen to be, I believe, draft picks or first round draft picks. Like these are the guys that have that potential to go in the first round. They usually have the intangibles, like they're really tall or they're strong or anything like that. So they're usually built like to be an NFL player. So I do think that's fair because if you play a bunch of 5 stars as a 2-star school, like you're going to get destroyed. That just makes sense. Like you've seen it happen all the time. And that's another thing that was kind of mentioned, that they mentioned like Michigan playing against Buffalo. So even if you're playing on the hardest difficulty, like you have a lot more margin of error. Like it's not like Buffalo is just going to be like jumping routes and stuff or whatever. Like you're probably just going to destroy them unless you really screw up or they have an amazing game or whatever. The wear and tear system will be very impactful for longer games, and it will affect performance. This has been in NCAA 14, so like if you see a guy that's, or I feel like in a lot of EA games where if you see the guys kind of like, he's hurt or not hurt, but he's like tired, he just doesn't play as hard or he'll drop the ball or stuff. But apparently there's a lot more emphasis where you'll really see that they're fatigued. And I think that's important because it kind of jumps to the next point, is that substitutions will be really important, and also recruiting deep into your roster. Maybe instead of recruiting a 1 5-star, you recruit 2 4-stars so that you have depth at like running back or something like that. So I do think that is important because depth, really when it comes to like the playoffs, a lot of times when you make the playoffs, it's you make the playoffs because you're the team that has the most health. Like you're the team that is has the most playmakers still not on like IR. Like shout out to Florida State for not, I guess, dishonorable shout out to Florida State for when Jordan Travis got hurt. It kind of ruined the whole season for them. So like having a good backup quarterback like ready to go, like stuff like that is super important. So I do think that's cool. And then also talking about custom playbooks in depth. So that is really talking about the gameplay mechanics, and I did spend a lot of time going into that because I do think that is important for gameplays, because I believe that's been the biggest question. But now I'll kind of do a little bit of a rapid fire and go over some of the smaller or these are big features, but the next big feature I'll talk about, and I'll go quick, is presentation. So it's basically been confirmed that there's not going to be a full ESPN license, no ESPN Scorebug or College Game Day. So I know a lot of people are bummed about this, and I know a lot of people will be like, this is unacceptable, and I agree, it is a bummer, but I felt like this was coming because when they did the release and they showed like Kirk Herbstreit and Chris Fowler were the commentators, they did not mention ESPN once. Usually if you're working like with a big brand or company, you usually put that front and center, like you're gonna get the full ESPN license, stuff like that. They didn't do that, so I was almost writing on the wall that this was going to be confirmed as not like ESPN being like in the game in terms of being the full broadcast partner, as well as David Pollack being one of the commentators. He does not work for ESPN anymore, so like it wouldn't make sense for him to like be the ESPN. And a lot of people were making it seem like, oh, this means there'll be ESPN and then someone else. But I don't know. I'm not super bummed by this. Obviously, if EA Sports really messes up this like presentation and doesn't really execute this properly, I will be really disappointed. But I just because of just due to like the theme, like the music that's been coming out about this game. I know that seems weird, but you can really tell the emotion behind like a broadcast by the music, in my opinion. The music seems to be really good, so I have a feeling the presentation will still be very, very good. It just won't be ESPN. And again, no college game day. Not really a huge bummer behind this, because yeah, you won't get to see like, you know, Lee Corso putting on the headgear, but he wasn't confirmed to be in the game anyway. So like, I don't know why people were expecting that. And also these pregame shows, I feel like they would have been super repetitive anyways. So I'm not as upset as most people would feel. I do think there will be a slight pregame show, but I also think NCAA 14, when they do their top stories, like in the Dynasty menu or whatever, is a great way to like see the different, you know, things and stories across the country, like an article or you know, I like how like Madden did it like tweet social media based, and I think it's kind of weird, but I do like how doing like the articles and stuff like that is cool. Like I think that's a way to kind of show like what's happening across the country, rather than like having to do like a stupid scripted looking like you know, show, which I'm not really as worried about it in this sense. So there is not going to be the ESPN license, and apparently there also will be a ticker at the bottom of the screen, so it'll probably show like other games. This is in Madden, so yeah. There will be many different crowd reactions to enhance the atmosphere. This is a big win, because Madden has known for having lifeless crowds. I remember playing, I think, Madden 20. That was the last game where I put like a lot of hours in it, so I apologize for that being the main game. But I would just be playing a game, and all of a sudden the crowd just gets up and starts jumping up and down, like just hysterically for no reason. Like we gained a yard and now they're just going crazy, and it made no sense. And while the crowd does seem to like be louder in terms like in Madden, which is great, but they don't like do stuff. They're not interacting. They're not like jumping up and down when you like you're running down the field running a kickback or something like that. That's the cool part about it. So hopefully that's one thing that's enhanced. It seems like that is. And also like one thing that was in NCAA 14 is distinguish the student section. Like make the student section like more compact, like have a higher density of fans, or you know, I don't know. I feel like that was a big thing with NCAA 14. You can tell where the student section was, and if they're doing like a color out, like they're very like coordinated with their colors and stuff. I just know that was something that I'm excited to see if that's in the game, but we shall see. And let's see, I'm gonna keep going because we're almost at 20 minutes. I apologize for this being a longer video. I'm gonna try to run through it. So another thing about Dynasty is gonna have a core focus with a ton of replayability. So it is a core focus of the game, which is good. I'm good to see that that's the case. That's just confirming a lot of speculation, a lot of people being like, oh, is this game going to be just franchise mode part 2 from Madden? So it does seem like it was a core game mode, so I feel like they were developing this from the ground up. And deep off-season management system, which, again, NCAA 14 has a really good off-season management with like cutting players, recruiting, player position, or changing player positions to training results. All that stuff is important. Recruiting is going to be really deep and engaging. Again, making it deep with also making it engaging is a big thing. And then also coming into Road to Glory, NIL is going to play a role. So I am interested to see how that goes. Obviously, the transfer portal and all that stuff will be in Road to Glory. So it does seem like Road to Glory will kind of be built off Dynasty, except your own player with other more in-depth stuff. So, and then also another thing when it comes to the Dynasty mode, and also kind of jumping into the customization part of this game, is there is only going to be a playoff format in this game, so there is no BCS option, which I didn't expect there to be the BCS because it doesn't exist anymore. Like it wouldn't make sense to kind of bring back something that doesn't exist. I'm sure the licensing and copyright still exists for the Bowl Championship Series, but it would be weird. Now, one thing I am hoping there is customization is the playoff itself. Like, can you go back to 4-team? Can you do 12, 14, 16, 32, etc.? Can you expand the playoff? That is something I really hope is in it. If it's just the 12-team playoff, then that's going to really kind of break a lot of the immersion, because we're only getting the 12-team playoff for 2 years. So we'll see how much the playoff format will be customizable. again, sometimes I might just want to do a 4-team playoff, because I'm not gonna lie, the 4-team playoff wasn't the worst thing in the world. You know, we'll see how the 12-team playoff. I know I'm a Florida State fan. I was upset about the playoff, but I'm at peace with it now. But I don't know. So I'm not upset about that really at all. It's just something to point out, because I know some people may have been curious about it. And then also some updates about Team Builder. So it should be releasing around the beginning of July, which I believe is mainly just so that, you know, servers don't get overloaded with the actual game release and people freaking out. So I assume it will be releasing the beginning of July. It's probably going to crash immediately, because that's how websites go when it's super hyped. And then it'll probably come back up, and you'll be able to create your teams about 2 weeks ahead, which is awesome. So that means you'll be able to jump into your game and you'll already have your team ready to go. Love it. And it gives you just something to do in terms of creating content. And I know I'm going to be creating some teams, and maybe we'll be able to showcase some teams from the community as well. So I'm excited to be able to jump into that. And then Team Builder is going to be it is going to be basic, but it is, you know, it's basically said it's going to be basic customization, which makes it seem like it's going to be the same Team Builder as what we've had in the previous games, maybe with a little bit more changes. The bar, guys, is like NCAA 14 levels of depth. That's really the bar. And if they go above it, I am going to be happy. If they go below it, I will be a little upset in terms of customization. So with the with this Team Builder, like, I don't think we're gonna have a stadium editor. That just seems like something that takes a lot of time, and maybe it will get put in later on. But can you update your fields? Like, can you change things? Like, I know in the last Team Builder, there was a lot of basic stuff. Can you pick a brand? That is going to be a huge thing. I'm hoping you could do that. I don't know if you will, because I feel like maybe you would have to get permission to do that. But that would be cool if you can pick Adidas and use Adidas templates, or Nike and use Nike's templates, and vice versa. Because, you know, using like a generic non-branded one would be kind of eh. So I am excited to see what ends up happening, but also I'm excited to see like how these custom teams look like with all those awesome graphics. Like, I'm really excited to see that. So that will be really cool when we get to go and jump into it. And then lastly, this is the last point before we end off this video, because we are getting a little bit long. I'm trying to keep it, you know, coordinated. This is a foundation building game. So this doesn't seem to be a one-off, which obviously you wouldn't put this much effort in a game that you only plan on releasing once. Come on, guys. If you assume that this is a one-off game, they're just going to cancel it. It's not how it works. They wouldn't have brought the game back if they're doing it. It seems like they're focused on getting the big features right, and really locking them down, getting the foundation built. But it won't be a bare bones game, which is good. There will be some good features in it, but obviously there are going to be some things that we won't be able to see, because there's only... Even though they've been working on this game for about like 3 years, it's still building a game from the ground up. Still takes a lot of time, and especially with what they've done in terms of how the game looks and at least the standard that EA has. I know people have a low bar for EA, but it's still you know, a AAA standards. So yeah, I mean, other than that, I'm still excited about this game. I think a lot of the stuff that's been happening, I'm still really excited. And I know some other features that aren't going to be in the game. No mascot mode, and no like the yard mode, or something similar. I'm not really worried about mascot mode. I played it about 10 times in NCAA 14. I think it would be like a novelty game mode. I feel like they could add it back in future iterations. I don't think it's that big of a deal for me. I don't think it was that big of something. I know people are upset about that, but again, I never thought it was that huge of a deal for me. But again, if you guys are, you know, feel different, feel free to sound off in the comments. And then PC versions are planned for future releases, so that is good. That is a good sign that we probably will get PC coming back, which I was again worried that they were just gonna abandon PC. I'm gonna buy an Xbox, but maybe I'll have to switch back to PC. But I will say that Madden or EA's games have played better on Xbox. Even though like I have a pretty powerful computer, it just still like feels laggy, even though I get good frames. Weird, but whatever. And then, before we end it, we should be getting a full gameplay footage reveal in early June, so just a few weeks away, and I think that's when we'll get to see like people playing the game. But other than that, guys, I'm really excited. Let me know in the comments what you guys think, and as well, if you like this kind of content, be sure to hit the like button down below. We're trying to grow a community. I don't really know if I want to like Go or not. I'm just trying to grow a community and have people, be excited about this game. So if you have any other questions or comments, be sure to put them down below. Other than that, this has been Jagnal. I hope you guys have a fantastic day, and I will talk to y'all later.